Ganag, a simple man, a farmer from a tiny village in India. His life had always revolved around the soil, the rains, and hope. But this year, the skies had betrayed him. The rainy season came and went without mercy. His fields, once green and alive, stood bare and brown, lifeless. With no crops to harvest and no food to put on the table, he made a hard decision. Scene shifts. Ganag walking down a dusty village road, carrying a small cloth bundle on his back. He decided to leave to go to the city. Maybe, just maybe, he could find some work, something to send money back home. He walked for hours under the gray sky. The road ahead was long, and the silence of the countryside whispered stories of struggle. Scene transitions to a lush jungle area with a flowing river. Birds chirping, water gently moving. Tired and drained, Ganag reached a small river at the edge of the dense jungle. There, he found a large stone near the river. The sound of the flowing water calmed his tired mind. He sat and slowly drifted into a deep sleep. The screen fades to black slowly, sounds soften, then suddenly picks up again with wind and strange echoing sounds. Hours passed. The wind changed. Ganag woke up with a shiver. Something was different. He opens his eyes. Standing before him was a massive, glowing figure, a giant man with ancient clothing and golden eyes. The figure spoke in a voice that echoed through the jungle. I am a Jinn from the hidden realm of Jinn. I was cursed long ago to remain here until I grant 3 wishes to you. Ganag couldn't believe what he was seeing. Was this a dream? Or was some kind of magic? The Jinn continued. You are the first soul to pass this way in 100 years. You shall have 3 wishes. Choose wisely, for they will shape your destiny. Ganag, still shaking, stood up slowly. He looked around. The forest was quiet. The river still flowed, but the air was heavy with magic. He took a deep breath and spoke. My first wish. I want the rains to bless my village every year, so no farmer ever goes hungry again. The Jinn nodded. A flash of light lit the skies. Ganag continued. My second wish, give me the strength to help others, not just my family, but anyone who suffers like I did. The Jinn's eyes sparkled. Another flash of light. And my final wish. Ganag paused and smiled. I wish for you to be free from your curse. The Jinn looked stunned. Silence followed. No one had ever wished for him before. Tears welled up in the giant's eyes. With a final roar of light and wind, the sky cleared. The Jinn vanished, his spirit freed at last. Scene shows Ganag walking back through the jungle, the sun rising behind him. The fields in his village slowly transform into lush green with blooming crops. From that day on, Ganag's life changed. The rains returned to his land. People in the village came to him for help, and he always gave, never expecting anything in return. They say, even now, when the wind flows near the river, you can hear the voice of the Jinn whisper, kindness is the greatest magic of all. Fade out with soft music and a glowing view of the village at sunrise.
In a quiet village surrounded by green fields and dusty paths, lived a young boy named Jony Drought. Jony was no ordinary child. He had dreams, big dreams. While others played, Jony often stared at old books, imagining himself in a classroom, writing on a blackboard and reading stories from far-off lands. But life had not been kind to him. His father had passed away when Jony was very young. The burden of the household fell entirely on his mother, but fate had another test for them. His mother became physically disabled after a tragic accident. With no one to earn in a house that barely stood on its own, little Jony had to step up. At an age when children go to school and chase kites, Jony woke up before sunrise and worked till the sun went down. Every morning he would tie a rope around his ox, Nadu, and walk to the fields. Nadu was not just an animal to Jony, he was his friend, his companion in every struggle. Together they plowed the land, carried loads, and helped the villagers with small tasks in exchange for a few coins or food. Jony never complained. His hands were rough, his feet cracked, but his eyes still held the spark of hope. Despite everything, Jony never let go of his dream. In stolen moments, he would sit under a tree and read old, torn books gifted by kind villagers. He couldn't go to school, but he taught himself the alphabet, numbers, and stories. He believed that one day things would change. That one day his hard work would speak for him. One sunny afternoon, something unusual happened in the village. A convoy of cars entered, drawing the attention of every villager. A well-dressed man stepped out, accompanied by a group of people. He was Solentai, a wealthy factory owner known for his generosity and love for social work. He had come to the village as part of his organization's outreach program. As Solentai walked through the narrow lanes, meeting villagers and listening to their needs, he noticed Jony. The boy was struggling to carry a heavy bundle of wood on his small shoulders while Nadu patiently followed. Intrigued by the boy's determination, Solentai stopped him and asked, "What's your name, son?" "Jony Dvoti," he replied with a polite smile, sweat dripping from his brow. "Why aren't you in school?" Jony looked down for a moment before answering. "I want to study, sir. I want to learn. But my father is no more. My mother cannot walk. I have to work, otherwise we won't eat." Solentai was silent for a while. He saw the strength in Jony's eyes, the fire that no hardship could put out. He spoke to his team and asked them to gather more information. Later that evening, after visiting Jony's small hut and speaking with his mother, Solentai made a decision that would change the boy's life forever. He announced that his organization would take full responsibility for Jony's education. Not just that, they would also cover his family's expenses, medical treatment for his mother, food, and shelter. Jony couldn't believe it. For the first time, tears rolled down his cheeks, not from pain, but from joy. He looked at Nadu, then at the sky, silently thanking the universe. Years passed. Jony studied with all his heart. He never forgot the fields, his ox Nadu, or the days of struggle. He became a successful engineer and returned to his village, not in fancy clothes, but with books, computers, and dreams for other children like him. He built a school and named it Nadu Academy, in memory of the ox who shared every burden with him. His story became an inspiration far and wide. A story of a boy who had nothing yet never gave up. A story that proved one simple truth. If we believe in hard work and live with honesty, success is sure to follow.
A greenery lover man walking daily in green fields for latest research. After he teaches some kids in village, one day he moves to city for more study. During traveling in, bus he finds empty bulk bag. He unzip bag but was empty. Asked to driver of bus about that, and he replies to him, after he was wonder to listen. This bag contains an environmental chip designed to purify the air. It helps improve air quality in cities with little greenery. Such technology reminds us how vital plants and trees are for a healthy environment.
Today I want to talk about the importance of greenery for our environment and healthy life. Trees, plants, and flowers are not just beautiful. They are the lungs of our planet. They absorb harmful carbon dioxide and release fresh oxygen, helping to purify the air we breathe. Green spaces reduce pollution, lower temperatures, and support wildlife, creating a balanced ecosystem. For us humans, being close to nature reduces stress, improves mental health, and encourages physical activity. Protecting and planting more greenery is crucial to fight climate change and ensure a healthier future. Let us all commit to nurturing our environment by planting trees and preserving green spaces. Together, we can breathe cleaner air and live healthier lives. Thank you.
In the heart of Houston, Texas, lived a boy named Ethan, a dreamer from a hard-working family who believed that integrity was greater than wealth. Ethan carefully irons his shirt, packs his bag, and checks the time nervously. He opens the front door to see the city still dark. He walks briskly toward a bus stop. As he arrives, the bus pulls away without him. On the most important morning of his life, Ethan missed the bus to his scholarship exam. He ran. Heart pounding, future uncertain, Ethan runs through the city streets, passing early risers, gas stations, and graffiti-tagged walls. Sweat drips from his brow. He clutches his backpack tightly, weaving through parked cars and empty sidewalks. Every step was fueled by purpose. His lungs burned. His shoes slapped the pavement. He had a dream to catch, in a quiet park corner, a bench with a black duffel bag sitting alone. Ethan stops. He approaches slowly, looks around, then unzips the bag. Inside are stacks of $100 bills and a crumpled handwritten note. At a quiet park bench, fate tested him. A bag. Alone. Unclaimed. Inside, money. Stacks of it. And a note. That broke his heart. Ethan stands still, gripping the note. He closes his eyes, torn. On one side of the frame, him holding the bag. On the other side, a vision of his family smiling, bills paid. Then, he turns and walks away from the park, temptation whispered. But his soul screamed louder. Ethan turned and walked toward the police station. Choosing honesty over comfort, at the police station desk, Ethan hands over the bag. A woman behind the counter takes it with a serious look. Moments later, a man in a suit enters and greets Ethan with a handshake. A man waited inside. Not a father. Not a victim. But a tester. From the Texas Youth Foundation. Ethan had passed the test. Ethan stands on stage in a cap and gown, receiving a scholarship certificate. His parents cry in the
It was a rainy afternoon on the outskirts of New York City. Wind howled, streets shimmered with water, and the world seemed to be rushing past a tiny, roadside tea shack. Inside stood Kamlinga, a humble black man with dreams far bigger than the walls around him. He stirred his special tea with care, its aroma blending clove, cinnamon, and cardamom drifting through the chilly air. Beside him, a sizzling pan held his homemade burger patties, crafted with secret spices passed down from his grandmother. He had no idea that today would change everything. A sleek black car slowed and came to a stop in front of the shack. The door opened, and out stepped a tall man in a suit, shoes polished, eyes sharp, presence commanding. He glanced around, then walked straight to Kamlinga's stall. The stranger sniffed the air and said, "What's that smell?" "It's different." Kamlinga smiled, a bit unsure. "Just my tea, sir. Would you like to try it?" The man nodded, and Kamlinga handed him a steaming cup and a plate with a freshly grilled burger. The man took a sip, then a bite. He paused. His face changed. Slowly, his eyes widened. He took another bite, and another, until the plate was empty. "Who taught you to cook like this?" he asked. Kamlinga wiped his hands on a cloth. "Just years of practice. My grandma's recipes." The man extended his hand. "I'm Jablino. I own a 5-star hotel in the city. You don't belong out here. You belong in my kitchen. Be there tomorrow morning. I want you as my master chef." Kamlinga stared, stunned. He had never been inside a 5-star hotel, let alone dreamed of working in one. But the next morning, dressed in his best clothes, he stood before the shining glass doors of the Empire Crest Hotel. Inside, Jablino welcomed him with open arms and introduced him to the team. At first, people doubted him. But once they tasted his tea, his burgers, his crafted dishes, the doubts disappeared. Guests returned just to try his cooking. Food critics praised his style as fresh, soulful, and unforgettable. In weeks, he became the star of the hotel kitchen. In months, he became a known name in New York's culinary scene. He moved into a cozy apartment in the heart of the city, no longer the man in the rain with a roadside shack. But in his kitchen, above his spices, he kept a photo of that old tea stall. A quiet reminder that greatness doesn't always start in the spotlight. Sometimes it begins with tea, a burger, and a rainy day.
The sun rose gently over the farmlands of rural America, casting golden light across the fields. In a small wooden house, a young boy named John Filmano woke up before dawn. His clothes were simple, his hands already familiar with the weight of work. His father, a humble farmer, was already outside feeding the goats and tending to the land. Life was hard, but their bond was strong. John watched his father with admiration and silently promised himself to change their future. Every day after farm chores, John walked miles to a small schoolhouse. There were no fancy classrooms or digital screens, but there was one thing he valued most: books. While others played, John studied. At night, he sat near a kerosene lamp, eyes fixed on pages, mind filled with dreams of a better life. He knew he had to rise above his circumstances, not for himself alone, but for his father who had given him everything. Years passed. One afternoon, John received a letter that would change everything: the GOAT Scholarship. It was awarded only to the most outstanding rural students in the country. His hands trembled as he opened it. He read it once, then again. His eyes filled with tears. His hard work had paid off. He had earned a place at one of the best institutes in the USA. The campus was like a different world. Skyscrapers replaced barns, and suits replaced muddy boots. But John stayed grounded. While his classmates came from wealthy backgrounds, he came with hunger, the hunger to learn, to grow, to succeed. He studied harder than ever before, worked part-time jobs, skipped parties, and built connections with mentors who saw the fire in him. In his third year, he started a small online business from his dorm room. It failed. He started another. It failed too, but each failure became a lesson. He adapted, learned, evolved. After graduation, his third business idea took off, a tech platform that revolutionized rural farming logistics. Investors noticed. Soon, John Filmano became one of the youngest and most respected businessmen in the country. He never forgot where he came from. The first thing he did was buy a luxurious royal-class home in New York and move his father in. That day, his father stood in the marble-floored hallway, looking out of a window that framed the city skyline. No words were spoken, but both men knew they had made it together. Now John visits schools across the country. He speaks to students, especially those from small towns and villages. He tells them his story not to impress, but to inspire. His message is simple but powerful. Education is the real wealth. It transforms lives. It breaks the chains of poverty. It is the bridge between dreams and reality. Study is the power. Knowledge is the key. If John Filmano could do it, so can you.
A rusted junkyard lies silent under the early morning sun. Among broken machines and metal scraps, a lonely robot slowly powers on. Its eyes, glowing a soft blue, scan the empty yard. High above, birds soar freely. The robot watches them, its gaze lingering on the sky with something like longing. A faint chirp draws its attention. Beneath a pile of metal, a small sparrow is trapped, fluttering helplessly. The robot hurries over and gently lifts the debris. The bird, frightened but alive, looks up at the cold machine. The robot opens its chest, revealing a hollow compartment. Inside, warm lights flicker. Carefully, it places the bird inside to keep it safe. Days pass. The robot and the bird become inseparable. It gathers crumbs, repairs the bird's wing with delicate tools, and plays soft music through an old internal speaker. One evening, using old red paint, the robot draws a heart on its chest. It pauses to look at it, then at the bird, who sings quietly on its shoulder. Dark clouds gather. A storm erupts. Rain lashes down, lightning flashing above the junkyard. The bird, now healed, flutters in panic beneath a metal sheet. The robot rushes to cover it, shielding the bird with its own body. Wind tears across the yard, and water pours into the robot's systems. Its eyes
A kid in worn-out clothes walked alone through the chilly streets of downtown LA. His hoodie was too big, shoes falling apart, but his eyes, they were sharp, focused. He stopped outside a glowing gaming cafe, pressing his face against the glass. Inside, the sounds of gunfire and explosions echoed as teenagers laughed and competed in a popular battle game called Galaxy Blitz. It wasn't just a hangout, it was a tournament. The winner? $10,000. He walked in slowly, heads turned. His presence was strange, out of place. The manager, a guy named Zach, raised an eyebrow. $20 to enter. You got it. The boy pulled out $3 wrinkled dollars. That's all he had. Laughter broke out from the back. Some kids sneered. But just when Zach was about to wave him off, a girl, quiet, confident, gamer-like, stepped forward. She placed a 20 on the counter. Let him in. I got it. The cafe went silent. The boy sat down, hands trembling slightly as he adjusted the unfamiliar gear. Then the match started. Everyone expected a joke. What they got was a master class. He moved like he was born for the game, dodging, striking, predicting every move. One by one, he beat seasoned players, YouTubers, even local champs. Whispers turned into cheers. People started recording. His name? Tyler. How did he learn? From libraries, he said. Old public PCs, tutorials, broken gear he found in the trash. He wasn't just good, he was elite. Then came the final match, against the same girl who paid his entry. She smiled at him. Let's make it fun. It was intense. Explosions, dodges, near wins. In the final second, Tyler made a move so smooth, so unexpected, the crowd gasped. Victory. Zach handed him the $10,000 check, still stunned. Tyler didn't celebrate. He just smiled gently, saying he wanted to help other kids like him, ones who never got a chance. The next morning, his story went viral. Videos everywhere. Millions of views. Brands reached out. Sponsorships followed. A week later, he walked back into the cafe, clean clothes, new shoes, same humble look. He wasn't there just to play anymore. He was building something. A gaming program for kids like him. He called it From Streets to Screens. Tyler didn't just win the game. He rewrote the rules.
In a land where clouds kiss the hills, a little boy with dreams bigger than the sky soars above them all. Jony Wow, a tiny superhero in a blue cape, sparkling boots, and eyes full of courage, he flies high above the hills, landing near an ancient cave, where wisdom awaits in silence. There stands Griniton, an old man with a long silver beard, starry robe, and a staff that glows with secrets. Jony, the secret of the golden egg lies beyond fear. And within Heart's fire, with winds at his back, Jony rockets through the skies toward the Golden Egg Cave. Deep in the mountain mist, inside, shadows twist, and a thundering growl echoes. I will get this golden egg. Nothing can stop me. You are brave, boy, but not wise enough to win, but Jony stays calm. He flies past the beast into the chamber of truth. There, a golden cage holds a glowing sparrow, the source of the monster's power. If I break the cage, I break the curse. He smashes the cage. A blast of golden light swirls, the monster roars, then vanishes into dust. The cave sparkles as Jony lifts the golden egg in triumph. Jony stands tall on the edge of a cliff, the wind dancing with his cape, and so, the little hero became a legend, because he chose courage over fear.
A soldier named Armand was on a mission near a dense jungle when his helicopter crashed during a storm. Only he and his loyal military dog, Rex, survived. With no signal and injured slightly, they ventured into the wild for shelter. Rain poured, wild animals howled, and food was scarce. On the first night, Armand and Rex slept under a tree, back to back, keeping each other warm. The second day, hunger kicked in. Armand caught fish using his shoelace and a stick, sharing it with Rex. That night, they were chased by wolves and escaped by climbing onto a high rock until dawn. On the third day, Armand spotted smoke in the distance. They followed the trail, crossing muddy terrain, fallen trees and rivers. Rex helped sniff safe paths, saving Armand from a deadly snake. Exhausted but driven, they finally reached a village at the jungle's edge. Locals helped them reach the city. Armand returned home with Rex, hailed as a hero not just for surviving, but for never leaving his dog behind. On their journey through the unforgiving jungle, Armand and Rex faced more than just hunger. They fought fear, doubt, and nature's wrath. Each step deeper tested their endurance. Armand crafted a shelter from palm leaves, used mud to treat his bruises, and even built a torch from tree resin to light their dark path. Rex stayed sharp, barking off lurking dangers and giving Armand the strength to go on. On the final stretch, with blistered feet and a weakened body, Armand almost gave up until Rex licked his face, reminding him they were still alive. That spark pushed them forward. When they reached the village, both collapsed, finally safe. In conclusion, their survival wasn't just physical, it was mental, emotional, and built on trust. Moral: true loyalty knows no language. In survival, it's not just strength, but bond and heart that lead us home.
An old man lives alone in a snowy forest deep in California's wilderness. His only companion is a clever monkey who brings him food: almonds, vegetables, and fruits. The two have formed an unbreakable bond, surviving the icy winters and silent nights together. Every morning, the monkey disappears into the trees and returns before sunset with something to eat. The old man warms the cottage, tells stories to the monkey, and shares every bite. They sit by the fire, watching snowflakes dance outside. Despite the loneliness of the wild, they are never truly alone. Their friendship keeps them alive day after day through storms, snowfall, and silence. It's a simple life, but one filled with trust, love, and survival. Old man, long gray beard, wrinkled face, warm wool coat, eyes filled with gentle wisdom. Monkey, small, brown-furred, expressive eyes, agile and playful, wearing a tiny pouch on his back.
In a quiet Indian village, Ram Das, a humble farmer, lived with his beloved white cow. Days were dry, the land cracked, and crops withered. Ram Das, sad and desperate, prayed daily for rain beside his cow. "Please, bless us with rain," he whispered, hands folded under the scorching sun. One evening, the cow wandered to a hilltop, stood still, and mooed at the sky. Suddenly, clouds began to gather. Thunder rolled. A drop fell, then many. Rain poured over the parched village. Ram Das danced in the mud with joy, his cow beside him. Green fields returned, crops blossomed, and smiles spread across the village. Ram Das now wakes with hope, knowing faith, nature, and a cow's love can bring miracles.
O merciful God, you heard my prayers. These blessed rains have brought life back to our land. Thank you for saving us and our fields. From the last few months I was really upset, but now happy with my cow and happy for my village life colors rain.
Zanabo and the baby zebra. One bright afternoon in a quiet village in the USA, a 5-year-old boy named Zanabo was walking home from kindergarten. His school was small and surrounded by thick woods. Most kids took the bus, but Zanabo loved the jungle path. It was full of birds, butterflies, and adventure. As Zanabo skipped along the trail humming a song, he suddenly heard a soft neigh. He looked around and saw something strange. A tiny baby zebra, all alone, nibbling on some grass. Zanabo blinked. "A zebra? Here, in America." The baby zebra looked up, blinked, and said, "Hi there, are you lost too?" Zanabo froze. You talked." The zebra nodded. "Of course. My name is Zebu. I got separated from my family during a big storm. I've been hiding here ever since." Zanabo's eyes went wide. "Wow, you can talk. That's amazing. I'm Zanabo. I go to Sunshine School. Wanna be friends?" From that moment, Zanabo and Zebu became best friends. Every day after school, they met under the old mango tree in the forest. Zanabo shared stories about his classroom, his crayons, and the funny songs his teacher sang. Zibu told tales of the wild savannas, his zebra herd, and how he missed his mom. One day, Zanabo told his parents about Zibu. At first, they didn't believe him. A zebra in the woods, talking. But when they saw the baby zebra with their own eyes, they were shocked and charmed. Zibu even said, "Hello, ma'am," politely. Zanabo's parents lived a simple life in their small wooden house, but they had big hearts. After some discussion, they agreed to let Zibu stay with them. "We don't have much, but we can give you love and safety," Zanabo's mom said. Zibu wagged his tiny tail in joy. From then on, the little house had one more member. Zanabo and Zibu played, laughed, and grew together, one boy and one talking zebra, the best of friends. And that's how a magical friendship began in a quiet village where the jungle met a little boy's heart.
Once upon a time, in a quiet corner of the USA, a farmer stood in the middle of his drying green fields, eyes filled with worry. It hadn't rained for 3 months. The crops were withering, the ground was cracking, and hope was slipping away with each passing day. Every morning he looked at the sky, praying for clouds. But the sun blazed mercilessly. The well had nearly dried up, and there wasn't enough money for fuel to run the old water pump. One afternoon, his younger brother, who lived in the city, arrived. He saw the sadness on the farmer's face and walked straight to him. "Big bro," he said with a smile, "why cry because of the sun, when we can use it?" The farmer was confused but curious. The next day, his brother installed a small solar system near the field. Within hours, the new solar-powered water pump was pulling clean water from deep underground. No fuel needed, just sunlight. Water flowed into the thirsty fields. The plants stood tall again. Days passed and green returned like magic. The farmer, once worried, now smiled every morning as he watched the crops dance in the breeze. Thanks to his brother and the sun, the farm was alive again. And this time, it was ready for any dry season ahead.
Today, the story about Ethan's and Mr. Grayson, how the destiny changed your. So watch and subscribe Furry Fables for more motivation and moral stories. Ethan was poor boy, live in village near USA area. He was fond of study, but not possible to continue because his village was away from city. No school in reach his area. He studied only class 8, but after no source to study, no school, no college for higher study, and poor father cannot afford to send him city school for his good education. One, he listened about a jungle area, poor wise old man, Mr. Grayson, so he decided to go to his cottage, was famous for wisdom concerned. So he reached a cottage jungle area and meet with Mr. Grayson and tell him about his wish.
Excuse me, sir. I'm just passing through. Could I rest here for a while? My name's Ethan. I come from a small village, no schools, no chance to study further. I dream of studying more, becoming something, and building a school for the children back home, but I don't have money. I don't even know how to reach the city properly. I don't want riches for myself. I just want to make a place where dreams can grow. Is there any way, any hope for someone like me?
Come in, young traveler. The woods are no place to wander alone at night. Sit by the fire, warm your bones. You look like you carry a heavy burden. It's rare to meet someone who thinks not just of their own future, but of others too. Long ago, I hid something precious, waiting for a heart pure enough to use it wisely. You, Ethan, have that heart. You are the one I have waited for. Take this map. Follow it to the hills. What you find there is yours to you.
When sincerity guides your journey, life unveils new paths to transform your destiny. Every challenge becomes an opportunity to explore the extraordinary within the ordinary. Subscribe to the channel Furry Fables for more inspiring stories that will touch your heart and illuminate your mind.
In a quiet village nestled among the misty mountains of China, a young boy named Jony lived a humble life. Though his body was frail and small, his mind was sharp and curious. Every day, he watched the villagers practice martial arts, fascinated by their strength and grace. One afternoon, Jony's keen eyes caught the subtle movements of an elderly master named Wei during a sparring session. With surprising clarity, Jony predicted each strike and counter before they happened. Impressed by the boy's intelligence, Master Wei approached him and said, "You have the mind of a strategist and the heart of a warrior. Will you train with me?" Jony's journey began that very day. Under Master Wei's patient guidance, he learned not only the physical techniques of martial arts, but also the philosophy behind every move. Jony's intelligence allowed him to grasp complex forms quickly, and his determination pushed him to practice tirelessly. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. His body grew stronger, his reflexes sharper, and his spirit unbreakable. The villagers watched in awe as the once frail boy transformed into a formidable fighter. Word of Jony's rapid progress spread beyond the village. When a national martial arts tournament was announced, Jony decided to enter. The arena was filled with the country's best fighters, each boasting years of experience and strength. But Jony's unique combination of intelligence and skill set him apart. He studied his opponents carefully, anticipating their moves and exploiting their weaknesses. One by one, he defeated them with precision and grace. The crowd roared as Jony was crowned the martial arts king, a title earned in record time. Jony's fame soon crossed oceans. In New York City, the police department was struggling to dismantle a dangerous international crime syndicate. The syndicate was elusive, their operations complex and well-hidden. The NYPD needed someone extraordinary, someone with both brains and brawn. When they heard of Jony's story, they sent an official invitation for him to come to New York and assist in their fight against crime. Arriving in the bustling metropolis, Jony was struck by the city's energy and diversity. The towering skyscrapers and crowded streets were a far cry from his quiet village, but he adapted quickly. Working alongside seasoned detectives, Jony's intelligence shone as brightly as his martial arts skills. He analyzed cryptic messages, uncovered hidden patterns, and devised strategies that led to key arrests. His calm demeanor and sharp mind earned him the respect of his new colleagues. One of Jony's most daring missions involved infiltrating an underground fight club controlled by the syndicate. The club was a dangerous place, filled with ruthless fighters and shadowy figures. Jony entered as a competitor, using his martial arts mastery to defeat opponents while secretly gathering intelligence. Each fight brought him closer to the syndicate's core, and his bravery inspired those around him. The nickname Dragon of Chinatown soon followed him, a symbol of his strength and honor. The final showdown came when Jony and the NYPD launched a coordinated operation to take down the syndicate's leader. The battle was intense, testing Jony's physical limits and strategic mind. With every move, he outwitted and overpowered his enemies, dismantling their network piece by piece. Justice was served, and the city breathed a sigh of relief. Jean's journey from a small village boy to a martial arts king and New York hero became a legend. He proved that true strength comes not just from the body, but from the mind and heart. His story bridged cultures and inspired countless others to believe in the power of courage, intelligence, and perseverance. The Dragon of Chinatown stood tall, a beacon of hope and unity in a world often divided.
12-year-old Ethan Cole, a tech-savvy but socially awkward boy from Seattle, discovers an old, weathered map hidden in a stack of his late grandfather's belongings. The map points to a place called Echo Valley, a forgotten area in the Rocky Mountains where, according to legend, a secret government experiment went wrong in the 1970s. When his parents send him to spend the summer with his outdoorsy cousin in Colorado, Ethan seizes the chance to follow the map. Joined by his cousin Jake, a brave and adventurous teen, and Maya, a nature-loving local girl with a mysterious connection to the valley, the trio embarks on a secret journey through forests, abandoned cabins, and hidden caves. Along the way, they face wild animals, coded puzzles, and old agents trying to keep the past buried. As the kids uncover the secrets of Echo Valley, including a long-lost energy device and the truth about Ethan's grandfather, their adventure becomes a race against time and shadowy enemies. But the real discovery is something more powerful: friendship, courage, and finding your place in the world.
Roosters crow as the sun rises over a quiet village. Cadril tightens the laces of his worn boots. Outside, Gingo laughs as Max chases chickens and Bella the cow licks an empty bucket. Gingo, Papa. Bella drank all the milk again. Cadril, she earns it. That cow works harder than both of us. Cadril walks to the far end of his green field with a shovel. He digs steadily. Suddenly, the shovel hits something solid. He kneels, brushes the dirt away, and reveals a golden shield glowing softly in the light. He wraps it quickly in cloth and rushes back home.
Gingo, what is that?
It looks like a treasure. Cadril found it while digging a golden shield sun. This land's older than we think. That night, Cadril lies in bed, staring at the shield. Moonlight slips through the cracks in the wooden walls. His eyes stay open, full of thought. Cadril, if one shield lay buried, maybe more waits beneath. At dawn, Cadril returns to the same spot and digs for hours. The sun climbs high. His shovel finally strikes something larger, a buried chest. He pulls it free and hauls it home on his cart. Gingo, what's inside? Cadril slowly lifts the lid. Gold coins spill across the cloth inside. The room fills with silence and golden light. Cadril, boy, this is more than luck. This is destiny. The next morning, Cadril walks through the city, clutching 2 coins in his pocket. He enters a small gold shop and places the coins on the counter. Shopkeeper, these are rare, ancient. You sure you want to sell? Cadril, just 2. That's all I need. He returns with more money than he's ever seen. He repairs the house, buys stronger tools, plants new crops. Every month, he sells 2 more coins. Time passes. The wooden house becomes a strong bungalow. The barn is rebuilt. Neighbors watch in awe. Gingo grows taller, studies harder, dreams bigger. Gingo, Papa, the university accepted me. I'm going to the city. Cadril, go, my son. Learn everything. And bring the light back with you. Cadril watches the sunset from his new porch. Max lies beside him, older but loyal. The golden shield now hangs above the doorway. His fields are greener than ever.
The Lonely Ride. 14-year-old Smith Plomey lived in the heart of Los Angeles, surrounded by tall buildings, fast cars, and a life many would dream of. His father, Doxta Plomey, was a successful businessman, a 50-year-old tycoon who owned chains of restaurants and luxury properties across the city. But with all his riches, Doxta had very little time, especially for his only son. Every morning, Smith would stand at the school gate, watching other kids arrive hand in hand with their fathers. Some came laughing, others waving goodbye to their dads. But Smith stood alone. His ride was always a shiny black Audi, driven by a stiff-faced chauffeur. He'd slide out of the back seat with his bag, nod politely to the driver, and walk into school silently. He never said anything about it, but deep down, Smith wished his father would come just once to drop him off like other dads. Even once would be enough. One afternoon, while sitting alone during lunch, Smith watched a group of kids laughing about their morning adventure on the city bus. They talked about the noisy ride, the crowded seats, and a man who sang songs on the bus for coins. Smith's eyes lit up. That was the kind of morning he wanted. Exciting, real, noisy, fun, not silent rides in luxury cars. That night, Smith asked his father if he could take the public bus to school, just once. Doxta, still glued to his laptop, barely looked up. Public bus? No, too unsafe. The driver's there for a reason. Just focus on your studies. Smith nodded slowly and left the room, his heart heavy. Days turned into weeks. His routine stayed the same. School, homework, and lonely meals. Until one rainy evening, things changed. Doxta returned home from work, coughing badly. He looked pale and tired. The doctor came and told him to rest for at least a week. Doxta was put on strict bed rest. For the first time in years, he was forced to stop. Smith quietly took charge. He brought his father soup, gave him medicine on time, sat by his side and talked, really talked. He even shared funny stories from school, stories he had never had the chance to tell before. At first, Doxta was surprised. "You've grown up, Smith," he said with a weak smile. Smith just nodded and kept adjusting his pillow. In those quiet days, something changed in Doxta. He saw the loneliness in his son's eyes, the quiet strength in his heart. He realized how many moments he had missed. Birthdays celebrated alone, school projects handled solo, dinners eaten in silence. One morning, as Doxta sat up with a cup of tea, he looked at Smith and said, "You've taken better care of me than I ever did of you." Smith smiled. "I just wanted you to be okay." Doxta placed a hand on his shoulder. From now on, things...
Rajesh Solanki, a young man, is seen working as a tempo driver in a bustling small town in India. He drives through the crowded streets, delivering goods to various shops, with a focused expression on his face. His life is simple but hard, constantly battling financial struggles to support his family. He looks at the wealthy factory owner's luxurious home, a stark contrast to his own modest existence. There's a subtle flicker of frustration in his eyes as he wonders why he's never had the life of comfort that others seem to enjoy. One evening, Rajesh delivers goods to the mansion, the owner absent for the moment. As he walks through the grand hallways, his eyes fall on a large sum of money left on a table. His mind races with temptation, and for the first time, he wonders how easy it would be to take what doesn't belong to him. The weight of his struggles clouds his judgment, and without thinking twice, he quietly grabs the money, slips it into his bag, and leaves the mansion unnoticed. The decision is made, and Rajesh walks away, unaware of the consequences his actions will bring. With the stolen wealth, Rajesh flees to Los Angeles, hoping to vanish without a trace. He changes his identity and starts a new life under a different name, living comfortably with the money he took from the factory owner. But the guilt never leaves him. He watches over his shoulder, constantly anxious, as his once peaceful demeanor now shifts to one filled with unease and paranoia. Rajesh tries to convince himself he's free, but deep down, he knows the law could catch up with him at any moment. Back in India, the factory owner grows suspicious. One day, he discovers that a significant amount of money is missing from his home. His worry turns to alarm, and he begins asking questions, trying to find out what happened to his missing funds. The realization hits him hard. Someone inside his circle must be responsible. He contacts the local authorities, setting the wheels of an investigation into motion. The search for the thief begins. Inspector Kapadia, known for his sharp analytical mind, is assigned to investigate the missing money. He pores over the factory's records, asking around and connecting dots that others might have missed. After a thorough investigation, he uncovers a trail leading to Rajesh. With the pieces of the puzzle coming together, Kapadia realizes that Rajesh has fled India, likely seeking refuge elsewhere. The case takes an international turn, and Kapadia reaches out to U.S. authorities for help in tracking down the fugitive. In the United States, SWAT Inspector Robert DaCosta is briefed on the case. A seasoned officer with years of experience, he's unfazed by high-pressure situations. He joins forces with Inspector Kapadia, and together, they combine their efforts to track Rajesh. DaCosta brings a strong, tactical approach to the investigation, while Kapadia's keen intellect helps them sift through the evidence. The two men form an unlikely yet powerful team, determined to find Rajesh and bring him to justice. The investigation picks up speed as both teams exchange information. They follow leads, trace Rajesh's steps, and uncover his new identity in Los Angeles. Days turn into weeks, and weeks into months. Rajesh, increasingly paranoid, starts to feel the pressure. The life he's built in Los Angeles feels fragile, like it could collapse at any moment. Every knock on the door, every unfamiliar face in the crowd, makes him jump with fear. He can't shake the feeling that the authorities are getting closer. Finally, after months of hard work, the authorities track down Rajesh to a quiet neighborhood in Los Angeles. The team is ready. They move quickly and silently, positioning themselves outside his home. Kapadia and DaCosta exchange a look of determination before the SWAT team makes their move. They break down the door in a swift and coordinated action, storming into the house with precision. Rajesh, caught off guard, has nowhere to run. His life, which seemed so secure just moments ago, unravels in the blink of an eye. Rajesh is handcuffed and led out of his home by two officers. As the police car drives him away, he stares out the window, his thoughts consumed by the path that led him here. He reflects on his peaceful past, his honest work, and how one decision, one act of desperation, changed everything. The luxury and comfort he once enjoyed now feel like a distant, unreachable dream, replaced by the harsh reality of his consequences. Inspector Kapadia and Robert DaCosta stand outside the house, their faces filled with the satisfaction of a job well done. Both men know the case is far from ordinary. It's not just about catching a thief. It's about understanding the darkness that can creep into a person's soul when desperation takes over. They exchange a few words, agreeing that the international cooperation between their forces was key to solving the case. Justice had been served, and the long months of investigation had finally paid off. 2 years ago, New York City